What is up, No Walls Podcast? My name is Chris Riley, and I am your producer here on the No Walls Podcast. And if you are here, we are so glad that you showed up. And if you're here on YouTube, go leave this thing a like, a subscribe, and something in the comments because that really helps us out. And tonight, or today, we have something amazing. We got a good podcast for you, and we got some special people for you. We got Preston Grace, and we got our lead pastor, Jared Callahan.
What's up, y'all? Excited to be here. Honored to be a part.
It's so good to have you here. Today we were kind of processing what we want to talk about, and you getting to lead the church and getting to pastor people. Like, I think one of the conversations that happens a lot throughout the church is this conversation of growth. Like, what's our next steps? How do we grow? What does that look like? And I think it's really cool because for me specifically, like, this place has been a place where, because every sermon is focused on practicality and like how do you take a next step? How do you grow? I've gotten to see a lot of growth in my own life. But one thing that I have noticed is like growth isn't always easy. And so I was going to kind of just unpack that a little bit today. Like, what is that like? What is it like to lead people through that? And like, how do you navigate that? So has there ever been a moment in y'all's life where you felt like you had a really hard growth step? Like you took it and maybe it was cool on the back end, but like what was it like to be in the middle of growing?
I would say almost every step is a little bit painful. I think it's the perspective of that pain. So I don't know that I can think of like the specific moments right now that were painful, and this was the last time there was really painful growth. I think over the years, I've had to learn to be uncomfortable. Being comfortable with the uncomfortable is the phrase I've heard. I didn't come up with that, but learning to be uncomfortable or being comfortable in the uncomfortable. And so there is like that pain point that stretches you past and gets you past that. So there are seasons of my life where I just start to understand that like we're going to another level. So this is painful, but there's a different kind of pain when it's hurting you versus when you know it's growing you. So it almost stops registering as pain, kind of like early on in the gym. Whenever it's painful, almost in a bad way, but the more you're exercising and stretching those muscles and growing those muscles, the pain you feel later on is actually a good pain because you know it's like this is stretching me, this is growing me. So I don't know that I have an exact last moment. This was the last time I really felt pain. I think over the last few years, it's learning to like it's actually not painful. It's an indication of growth. So it doesn't register quite as pain. It registers as growth instead of pain. If that makes sense.
It makes really sense. Good. Oh, you said in the last few years it doesn't register as pain. Why do you think initially it registers more as pain?
Oh, because I'm a big wuss. That's why, for sure. I am so apt to avoid pain at all costs. There's a lot of areas of my life that's really healthy where if this thing hurts, I learn my lesson quick. So I don't like pain at all.
I'm the same way.
And so I'm trying to avoid it. But then there was a season where I had to like learn to lean into it and to push for the pain. And there was always, I had enough goals and dreams and felt like I was called in areas of my life that I would okay, I've got to do this thing, but I didn't learn how to enjoy them and understand that like this is gym kind of pain, muscle growth kind of pain, and learn that they were good for me and actually learn to like them in a way that was like, this is actually fun in the process because it's growing me. Those kind of pains took me a while to understand and be okay with and actually not hate them. So before that moment, I think I hated it. I knew I had to endure it, but I didn't value it. I didn't appreciate it. It was like, this is stupid. This shouldn't be this hard. Yeah. And then after that moment, I think I started to register what it was and go, no, this is good. I'd rather have this pain than the pain of not growing.
Oh, that's good.
That's really good.
So I actually think, I have like a similar thing. I think it might actually be a lot of people's experience that whenever you first start doing something, you register, the growth as more painful than like later on. And I liked your analogy about exercise because there is definitely a difference between like my chest is sore and like I pulled something in my shoulder. And how do you think we differentiate those? You know what I'm saying? Because I think, like, especially whenever you first get into working out, like, it's actually more dangerous because you can hurt yourself and not even realize you're hurting yourself. Like, I've had moments when I've gotten back into the gym and I've, like, lifted too much. Like, I've curled too much. It's not a lot because I can't curl a whole lot. But I've went in and I've curled too much, and then, like, I've actually, like, done something to this tendon in my arm. But at the time I was like, man, I'm so sore from my workout yesterday. Like, how do we make sure that we're not doing that just in life?
I think from a spiritual sense, I think it's very similar to exercise. one, you need to be around people that are teaching you form. Like this, in the same way, I was starting to have problems with my shoulder, and I found out that my bench form was just terrible. It was just putting so much pressure on my shoulder. And so learning to be around people that know the forms that keep you healthy, to tell you when the pain is the good kind of pain, and just time. Like, so you're going to, over time, start to recognize, this is a part of the process. This is good stretching pain. And same way in the gym, or same way with exercise, you start, if you've been in the gym for any length of time, you pretty quickly know the difference between this hurts in a good way versus this hurts in a bad way.
Yeah.
And the same thing spiritually. Any length of time you get into it, you start to register, no, this is making me better. This is helping me. This is inspiring me. It's challenging me. It's growing me to go from one level to the next level. I'm taking that step up versus the kind of pain that is in a spiritual sense, the kind of pain that is guilt-driven, the kind of pain that is me attempting to carry more than I'm supposed to carry and feel the pressure of what I'm supposed to do, the kind of pain that comes from trying to impress people, especially in ministry, but just even in our Christian walk. Like, I'm here to live out the call of God on my life, no matter who I am as a follower of Christ, not live up to your opinion of me. So it's going to be bad pain if I'm trying to stretch myself to impress you. It's just going to cost you every time. And so you kind of learn the difference. For me, the difference comes from the root of why I'm doing it. I'm almost always getting good pain when I'm trying to seek the heart of my Father, when I'm trying to be more like Him, love people better. I'm almost always getting bad pain when I'm trying to impress people, when I'm trying to fulfill, even fleshly desires that I know aren't good for me, that satisfy in the moment but cost me in the long run. Those are bad pains. Good pains are when I'm trying to really love people well and love God well.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have anything, Chris, on that?
I was gonna ask: were there any moments where you were confused, like that you experienced, that you worked, like you got the two mixed up, that you could think of?
I don't have anywhere they were just like completely mixed up. There's definitely moments where I don't understand the pain that comes from maybe not growth pain, but just pain in general that I am growing in. So when Psalms 23 talks about walking through the valley of the shadow of death, that's painful. It's emotionally painful. It's probably physically painful, but there's just a lot of torment in there, and yet you're growing in the middle of it. He's still using it. It kind of ties into Romans 8:28, where he talks about all things working out for the good. He's using the dark moment even when he didn't cause the moment. And so you're always growing if you allow him to grow you. He'll always use every moment. He won't waste a moment. He doesn't waste a tear. He doesn't waste a tragedy. It's always going to grow you. But that moment, like me choosing to step into a moment of growth versus life happening to me and tragedy taking place, those are hard. Those are hard to distinguish. Like, why did that have to happen? It didn't have to happen. It shouldn't have happened. But also, I saw you do good in it. And those are I don't know if they're hard to distinguish. They're just painful and they're not fun. And yet a lot of people, when we talk about grief, will tell you, I would never want to go through it again, and I would never want that to happen. If I could go back and stop it from happening, I would stop it. However, I also don't want to ever let go of what I learned in the process of it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's this weird tension of like, that's not a pain I should have gone through, but it's also a pain that strangely taught me something really beautiful, and trying to figure out to hold those two truths together that seem conflicting but actually are beautiful in tandem.
That's really good.
When I think of like this topic a lot, so like I'm an anomaly because I think I had like what is as close to like a textbook childhood that you can have. Like I have, like when I took the ACE score, I had like maybe a 1. You know what I mean? Like probably a 0. And I used to always hear people talk about like it's in the pain that you find growth. It's in, you know what I mean? Like, so I guess I have two questions for you. The first one is like what does it look like? Do I have a cap to my growth if I haven't went through as much pain as someone else?
Ooh.
And then the second thing is, do you think pain is necessary to growth?
So your first question, I don't believe you have a cap, in the sense that you are equipped to do everything God has called you to do, and that's the only thing that really matters. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm not trying to accomplish what other people are called to accomplish. So in that sense, there is no cap, because I have been equipped with everything that I need to do. I've got everything everything that I'm called to do, I'm equipped to do. God has given me everything in my life right now to be faithful in this season, in this moment. So in that sense, you're not capped at all. Is pain necessary for growth? Yes, it's a part of growth. Perceiving it correctly, and healthy pain feels very different than unhealthy pain, matters a lot. But there are things that when you're stretched, whenever he tells us to pick up our cross daily and follow him, that if we want to find our life, we lose our life, those are painful things. So those parts of the healthy pain of our spirituality are necessary. The distinguishment for me, when you're kind of holding those two questions together, is you should never attempt to go find pain.
Yeah.
That's sadistic. Like,
Yeah.
It's useless. You should never go look for pain. However, when you're trying to grow and when you're trying to seek the will of God, and pain is a part of that process, it'll happen on its own. It'll just be a part of the thing. You won't look for it, and you shouldn't look for it. In all honesty, if you can do what God's called you to do without pain, you should do that thing. That's the parts of the things you should do. Like the things where he tells you that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. Make sure you know that too. Those are both truths in the same scripture, that you have to pick up your cross daily while simultaneously knowing that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. So don't go looking to carry more weight than is yours. Don't look for pain, because that's not what grows you. It's just that in the process of growth, there are things that are going to stretch, and there are pains that grow you. One of the things we kind of touched on is if we're staying stagnant, or we stay in easy places that God is trying to stretch us, we miss out on the strength that's in us.
Yeah.
And you don't need to go find pain to do that. It'll find you. And one of the things we kind of hit on before even the podcast started was the study they did on those biodomes that they were creating for years. And many of you have probably seen the movie, although you guys are probably too young for the movie Biodome.
I haven't seen any movies,
Yeah,
though.
no movies for Preston. It's an old school comedy of Biodome where they set up a perfect environment. And what they found out in the real world, not in the movie, what they found out in the real world is that the trees would start to grow in that perfect environment, would start to collapse in on themselves because they couldn't hold the weight of themselves. And what they found in that study is that, or what they assumed was taking place, is that because there wasn't wind and pressure in that biodome, it was a perfect environment. There was no wind, there was no storms, there's no pressure. It didn't grow enough strength to even maintain what it was designed to do, because there wasn't any pressure on the outside to stretch. And so I think they call them like micro cracks inside of some of the wood. And they would even suggest that the movement of the tree helps kind of dislodge some of the soil for the roots to go deeper, so it can have a higher top. It could go further because that wind. And I imagine those storms are somewhat painful, but they're the storms you have to go through in order to reach that next level. It's just, you don't go looking for storms. You don't go looking for it. You just look to be faithful, and God will stretch you.
Yeah,
That's
that
really
makes
good.
sense. I was so like when I was like attending here as a student, the best way I could like kind of categorize how I was feeling at the time was like nihilistic is a super extreme version of it, but like just very like apathetic to life. Like I didn't really care much, but like also life was really good. Like in every measurable, like nothing crazy was happening in my life. I could wake up, I could have a good day, I would get home, like, and it was just chill. Like my life was very like this. And then I did realize when I started following Jesus, like there were some moments that were hard. You know, like I was having conversations. Taylor was walking me through a lot of things at the time. You were walking me through a lot of things at the time. Like, and like as I was taking those steps, they were difficult to take. But like what you were saying, like with the tree, I think I was very much in a season of my life where it's like, yeah, I have like I'm not doing anything hard, but also like I'm not building any skills or anything. You know what I mean? And there's like this thing that I heard someone say a long time ago. They were using Peter Pan as like an analogy. And they were saying, like, Peter Pan lives in Neverland, and he's nothing but potential. But the thing about being nothing but potential is that you never become anything. And they were talking about how, like, it's cool to be nothing but potential whenever you're 12, but when you're nothing but potential when you're 30, like those are very different things. And I was wondering, like, if someone is in a similar season with me, as I was, and it's like you're not looking for pain, like, for the sake of, like, having, like, a childhood like Batman, so you have this cool backstory, but you're looking for, like, healthy pain, like, healthy ways to grow. What would be your first step to maybe getting into that? Like what would that even look like for someone?
Well, if they're in this similar boat that life is not satisfying, it's more of just the clear evidence of the deep longing in our soul that we need something more than just an easy life.
Yeah.
And that's true for we need bigger goals. It's just true for all of us. For civilization, you could argue that civilizations that have it too easy is right on the precipice of when they're going to crash. We start to make up things that we're upset about when just any organization becomes too easy and they're not stretching to grow, is when the organization is about to crumble. In your own life, you'll find that when things are just coasting, it should be when you're happiest, right? Like you've got all the stuff. Like really rich kids who are kind of trust fund kids are the ones that are out like with misery, and they seem the most depressed after they go through their party phase. You're like, what's the deal? You've had it perfect to you. And it's because it's not the pain that you're supposed to have. Pain is a part of the process of what you're supposed to have, which is purpose. And so in order to be purposeful, the pain will come. And so it's the purpose that you need. If life seems empty, it's because, you have a purpose you're not living out. And so, like for me, I remember one of the most beautiful seasons of my life was I got to spend 3 months in Costa Rica. And it was a cakewalk of a time. I'd saved up money for it, and I was able to do it and just chill. But I knew in that season, one, it was 3 months, and I knew it was going to end. But I also knew in the midst of, like, this is fun, and I embraced every moment of it. But I also knew that I want to build something. I wanted purpose. The beach is always what I long to go back to, and that specific spot that I was at for basically most of that 3 months, I still long to go back to every day of my life, but also know I can't stay there. I can't stay in beach mindset because I have a purpose mindset, and again, love the beach, but my purpose is bigger, and I'll be really dissatisfied with my life, and you'll find out the beach isn't very good when you have no purpose, we have no design. It's great to go visit, it's great to go have moments and seasons, but when you don't have purpose, there's not an amount of stuff in your life, there's not an amount of drugs or sex or alcohol or anything that'll ever satisfy, and it's not the pain that you need, it's the purpose. It's just that because God is stretching us like we would want to see our kids stretched. Pain is a part of that. Sometimes you fall while you're trying to learn to walk. You're going to scrape up your knees while you're trying to run. And those are just part of the process. But that's not the ultimate goal. The goal isn't pain. The goal is purpose.
Yeah, that's good. Well, when I was a kid, I was learning how to ride a bike. And I was like what you were saying at the beginning of the podcast, like I hate pain. Like I learned from pain like that because I will avoid it at all costs. I remember being a kid and we had this like hill outside of our house. And I remember my dad was like pushing me on the bike, and it was like he like let go, and it was the first time where he let go or I actually like kept going. I remember going up, and I went on this hill, and I just like fell and just like skinned my knees up and all this stuff. And I think I was honestly like pretty old to be learning how to ride a bike. I don't know how old I was. I think I was like 6 or 7 or something like that. And I remember just telling, like I went inside and I told my mom, I was like, I'm done. Like I'm never riding a bike again. And she was like, why? I was like, I just keep falling. Like I'm not doing this. And I went like a whole nother year, didn't touch the bike. And it's like it's obvious, like with this analogy, I guess, but like I think we do this a lot of times in life. Where like I didn't get better at the bike by not touching it. Like I didn't get better at the bike by not hopping on it and scraping my knees. And I think it is kind of hard sometimes to wrap our minds around the fact that like in order to go and do something that is worth doing, like you'll have to get on the bike. Like even though I'm going to fall, even though it's not going to be comfortable at times, like. If it's going to be worth doing, I have to get on the bike. Why do you think that is though? Like, why do you think purpose? You might have already answered this question, so if I'm tracking back, like I apologize. But like, why do you think that the things that are most purposeful in life tend to be tied to pain? Like there tends to be a little bit of like scraping your knees and stuff to do it.
Yeah, I don't know why they're connected. Just growth and pain are in tandem. I don't know the why. It's one of those like what is it? There's a satisfaction. I've heard a Harvard professor talk about satisfaction and how if you think about the times you're most satisfied, you're most proud of yourself, it was a moment that you overcame a difficult season, that you accomplished something on the other side of kind of pain. And so there's something innate in us that needs to be stretched and needs to grow and needs to see it. So that's just a part of growing and stretching is a little bit of pain. And again, I hope we start to see, and this made my question for you, hopefully we start to see the pain as good and not something we avoid. We are good with the right pain. And so I guess my question for you is when you were a kid, is there anything that could have been told to you or done or got you to the mindset of being okay with the pain or seeing the pain as good?
So I did get back on the bike. And I think the thing that got me back on the bike was I saw my friends riding bikes. So like I had some friends that lived in Oklahoma, like downtown Oklahoma. I remember going to some of their houses around the time, and they had these BMX bikes, and they would just ride it around. And I saw how fun it was to do it whenever they were doing it right. And I think that was probably the thing. I don't remember it like super clearly, but I think that's what like motivated me to get on the bike was I saw other people doing it well, which honestly kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about having people who are showing you form. Which is actually pretty cool. You just kind of blew my mind just then, so that's kind of cool. But that's what I was gonna ask you though. Is like, what would you say to the kid who decided they're gonna get off the bike, or the person who decided like purpose isn't worth chasing? Like they tried before, maybe they actually got pretty far, maybe they got up the hill, and they fell and they scraped their knee one too many times. Like what would you say to that person?
Well, I was hoping you would help me understand that, like for my own kids, if they grow up to have, or neither one of them have that wiring just yet, but if they grow up to have that wiring, I'm trying to figure out what would have got me, because I was in a similar boat. Like I was learned quickly from pain, which was good in one scenario, but also bad in others, where it's like I needed to know that the pain was good and kind of learn a friendship. It was 2018 whenever I really felt like I understood a healthy relationship of pain, and I knew I needed to stretch. I knew I was kind of like had plateaued, and so I needed some goals physically in my life, and so I did the first and only triathlon in that season, and there was some messages that got through to me. Stephen Furtick did a message. Pastor Craig Rochelle did a message that I was listening to while I was running, and in that season, I actually am okay with biking and swimming, but hate running. And it was painful, and it wasn't enjoyable. And I was listening to their message while I was in pain, talking about pain and talking about, I think the message was gift is in the grind, and just like the pain of it, and learning a healthy relationship to like, no, I don't want to ever miss out on the pain, because I don't want to miss the growth, and like actually value it was 2018 when it really clicked. So I'm always thinking back, like what would have won me over in sports to look for the hit, if I'm going to play football? What would have been in sports to look for the pressure and the strain, and like look forward to the tournament? Like I played tennis in high school, and instead of being anxious for the tournament and the possibility of loss, to look forward to it, because I'm going to grow from it. I'm going to like, no, I want to lose so I can learn from the loss, or I want to go show that I'm ready to win, and I'm okay with either. And I don't know that I have the answer of what would have won me over. I just knew, for me at least, the only thing I know is that the purpose in you for this thing is big enough to go through the pain. How to go from that to, no, I actually value the pain and respect the pain. I'm not quite sure how to get somebody into that mindset, because I was so old when it happened. I'm trying to figure out, like for my kids, what would it look like to challenge you? Like not only is the pain a part of the process, but I need you to learn to enjoy the right kind of pains, to enjoy the loss, which I hate. I still hate losing, but it's like, no, but I'm going to come back and figure out how to win. To this day, if I lose at a game, I immediately want to play again. I am more driven by something I've lost at. If I'm terrible at something, I immediately want to play that thing again, and I want to get it good enough at it till I'm mediocre, at least mediocre, and can play at a consistent level. Otherwise, if I win, I don't do the same thing. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. I can move on. And so respecting that part of me that challenges me and is a part of kind of a healthy pain, I'm not sure what I would say exactly, but I would do everything I could to help them understand the value of that pain, that losing, that stretching.
So my wiring is actually different than yours there. And maybe this is a side tangent, so I don't know if this is going anywhere that's productive, but my default has always been, if I lose at something, it didn't matter anyways. And so then I just get to like if I lost a game in basketball, like basketball is different. I really love basketball, but like anything, like playing foosball with someone or something like that, like if I won, I'd be like, let's go. Like, I'm really good. If I lost, I would just be like, it's just foosball. It's stupid. Like, who wants to be good at foosball? So that actually wouldn't have been the same thing that would have driven me as a kid for the bike. I think for me, like, one of the things that really helps me get over pain is just fun. I think I try to, everything I see is like, I try to see I think my brain naturally sees a lot of things as like a return on investment thing. Like, is this worth the pain for the thing on the back end? And I haven't been able to figure out quite how to, if this thing doesn't seem worth it, I haven't figured out quite how to do this stuff on the front end, if that makes sense. So like, for me, like things like everything for ministry, following Jesus has seemed super worth it. So like, I'll do it. But as far as like, like I mean, like foosball now. Like if I play foosball and I lose, like that's my default mindset is like, well, like doesn't matter anyway. It's just foosball. You know what I mean? So like I don't know exactly how to tweak that, but like that's kind of like more where my wiring is when it comes to that. So I'm not really for sure.
Well, I mean, I think it's worth going through the pain if the purpose is big enough.
Uh-huh.
So for you, it actually is probably really like it's probably helped. It's a gift that God has given you to help you. Not that it's going to work out in every area of your life, but you haven't wasted your time on things that don't matter to you because we only go through the pain for the things that matter most. And that's a good aspect. It's like I'm not wasting on the side. I can waste my time on side tangents because I need to prove something to myself. Like a buddy of mine had a ping pong table. He owned a ping pong table. He was good at ping pong. I just started playing ping pong. And so we started out him playing me left-handed and to see if he could skunk me left-handed. And he would beat me left-handed. And it was a guess whether or not he was going to go 7-0 against me left-handed until now. He would disagree with this, but I think I beat him 3 out of 5, And so he would say he beat me 3 out of 5, but it's at least competitive. We're at least competitive, both of us playing our dominant hands. And so in some sense, that could sidetrack me to things that matter most. Like this is maybe not purposeful enough in my life. And I really can get sidetracked on too many things and curious about too many things and want to get good at too many things. You can be the jack of all trades and master of none concept. Yeah. And so it really is worth the pain only for the right purposes. It's not worth going through pain for things that don't have purpose. It's not worth proving to the world that you're good at ping pong now. It's not worth proving to the world that you're good at foosball. Those things just aren't worth it. So I do think there is a value in only going through things that are worth going through. Like, no, the pain is good because my purpose is, and it's not looking for the pain, but it's learning to value the pain because it's growing you to the purpose, and the purpose is big enough for the pain, and trying to find that, like, make it big enough. And that's probably where I'd go to with even my kids is like, this needs to be big enough for you. I need to find something you're passionate enough about that's purposeful enough that I can help walk you through. Like, if you want to get here, it might hurt here, but it's worth it. Like, do it. Like, do the extra running for that sport. Do the extra studying for that class. Do the extra thing. And that's something that I avoided that I wish I hadn't. 18, 19, 20. It's like, what's the easiest route I can go do the least amount of work? And it's like, well, it's fine that it wasn't big enough for me. And ministry is, which is why I've endured the pain of any time ministry happens. So now it's like, no, okay, the pain's okay. The pain's part of the process. God is doing something in me, whether it's pain I caused myself, whether it's pain that happened to me tragically, or whether it's part of me stretching and growing. God will use all of that, and I kind of learn a certain respect for it and appreciation of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you have like a moment in your ministry like that was really hard that you felt like God was stretching you in?
Yeah, the hardest, I probably can't go into too many details on all the hardest ones because the hardest ones are losing people I love. There's friends in ministry that we're not in ministry together anymore, or people that were high-level leaders in the church and got their feelings hurt. And I'm sure I have culpability, and I've done every assessment I can in my own soul to try to figure out and make my apologies where it's necessary. But those are hard. Those are the most dark moments of me wrestling through, like, man, could I have gone back a year before that and loved them better, or explained something to them better, or walked them through their own growth better? Those are the most painful for me. Those are the ones that eat at me. It's just like it's not as bad as this is. I wish I had more memory for the ones that are winning right now, because we have a church that's thriving and people that are loving Jesus well, and really growing in their walk with Christ. But the ones that eat at me are the ones that got away, the ones that missed out and are mad at the church for it and mad at me for it. And those make me sad, even though I know I can't fix that all the time. I've made my apologies to anyone I can that I know that I've done wrong to. But those are the hardest moments. And the way that they've probably grown me in that pain is to always assess. Like, I don't want to feel that again. So every moment with every leader matters, and I want to make sure I'm respecting you, I'm honoring you, and trying to see God's best in you, even if you're frustrating me. Or what's really frustrating is seeing the potential, like you were talking about earlier, in someone, and them not really live it up. You want more for them than they want for themselves. Is a phrase that I've heard before, and it's really hard to not, like, almost be mean to them to get that out of like, you're better than this, and it comes across as you're failing. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that to you. So just really watching how I love people, how I lead people, and making sure that I'm trying to call out God's best in their life, and in a way where I'm thinking on the back end, if I lose them, did I do everything I could? And if I know that I'm doing everything I could to love them well now, if they decide to take the next step, because I really do have a grow or go kind of mentality, and you can be slowly growing. I'll give you seasons, but I also can't let you like die in it and justify your sin and justify your death in the midst of what God's calling you to do. So that's more, that'll make pain for the whole church. That's an unhealthy pain that I won't let happen for high level leaders. It's like you can't be the lid to what God wants to do in my neighbor and in my family and in the people of this church. So like in the role that you're in, you've got to be trusting God, you be following God. You can't stay where you're at. You got to keep taking steps and keep loving God and loving people well. And so when I'm stretching people in that regard or trying to challenge them, I just want to make sure that like I'm really faithful to that, because I don't want to feel the pain of wondering like, man, could I have loved them better? Could I have led them better? Those are the ones that hurt.
Yeah. I think it's like this would be a good question to wrap it up. So if someone was listening and you were talking to them as if they were a tree and they found a really comfortable life in the microdome, what would you say to them? Is that the right word, microdome? Okay.
No, biodome.
Biodome. If they find a really comfortable life in the biodome, what would you say to that person to encourage them to step out of it?
Well, I think in the question, it is assuming that they're in a biodome that is an unhealthy environment for them. So I want to distinguish the difference between being in a sweet spot in life and being blessed by God.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in the yoke is easy and the burden is light, just be grateful.
Yeah.
Just like, thank you, God, that I'm in a season of my life where I'm experiencing that and I'm seeing you lead me, right? The distinguishment is there's a yoke. So when he says his yoke is easy, there's still a yoke. There's still something attached to your neck that's attached. Like the yoke is one animal that is mature attached to a younger animal that doesn't understand the job and the task, and they're attached together, and the yoke is helping that younger animal understand how to plow the field, understand how to follow the lead. And so it's still a yoke, but it's easy. So if you find yourself in that, you just stay grateful. You just go, God, thank you that I'm getting your best in my life, and I'm doing it. There's still seasons where you're stretching me, but I'm learning to love the stretch and the growth. Stay there. If you find yourself in the spot of a biodome, I would almost guarantee you're not satisfied, and you keep looking for more things to make it easier on you, and you keep finding excuses. Well, if I just get this relationship, if I just get this medication, if I just get this thing, then I'll be fully satisfied and I'll fully get it. And you keep trying to perfect the biodome, and you keep seeing cracks in the weight of your own just natural growth and your mental health and your spiritual health starting to crack, and it's starting to tip over, and the tree is starting to fall. It's because you're in an unhealthy environment. You have purpose, and God has designed you on purpose for a purpose. So if you stay in that spot, you're not only are you not going to grow healthy, you're going to miss out on the beauty of what God has for you. And so my challenge with you is to find purpose, is to find out if God has purpose for you first if you're not there. But as a pastor, I know God does. He doesn't make accidents. Every person that was born has a purpose in him. And so do the work. This is the first part of that pain. What is my purpose? And that's painful. He tells us to work out our salvation with fear and trembling. Painful. Like, what do you want me to do? How am I supposed to do this? And you go to step and you find out it's the wrong step, and you go, all right, God, and he uses that, but then it's painful. You step again and you're like, that was kind of right, but not right enough. And you keep trying, and you start maybe serving in one area of the church, and you like it but don't love it. And then you find another area where you love it a little bit more, and you start to see the nuances of your gift and the beauty of the way God made you until it really starts to bloom, until the pressure of the stretch brings out the beauty of who God designed you to be. That's the pain that's worth it. And like, seek God's purpose in your life. Seek him first, and all the other stuff, the beauty of what you're designed to be will come out. That's what Matthew 6 talks about, is that all this other stuff's going to be added if you'll seek him first. His purposes in your life, his kingdom first. You're going to find out the beautiful tree you were designed to be, the way you were designed to bloom, and that the pain of the wind and the storms, it was worth it in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Sweet.
Thank you for that answer.
Sure.
I think you probably encouraged a lot of people who are listening to this podcast today. Thank you for being on the podcast. I know it was last minute, and so thank you for hopping up and killing it. We really appreciate that. And thank you guys for listening to the podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe to this thing. We appreciate you listening. Give us a comment. That really helps us out a lot. And we will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much, Pastor Jared, for
Thanks,
being
guys.
here. Thanks, Chris, for being here and producing this
Thank
thing.
you, guys.
We love you guys. Thank you guys for listening.